Hi and welcome back to Sister Wives Underground. If you're new, be sure to subscribe and give this a big thumbs up, especially if you're in the mood for some tough truths and behind-the-scenes drama from Season 19. Following a jaw-dropping 4-part tell-all, Sister Wives Season 19 concluded with emotional confessions and dramatic revelations. The season finale provided us with a raw glimpse into where each of the once Sister Wives is today and how Cody Brown's life is still in shambles in the wake of 3 divorces. But just when viewers thought they'd witnessed it all, Cody revealed a bombshell that shook everything to its core. Let's discuss Cody Brown's startling double standards. For years, Cody and his last wife Robin promoted the notion that their relationship is holy and spiritually more elevated. But on the tell-all, when host Sukanya Krishnan challenged Cody over his past, namely his pre-wedding sex life, he wasn't shy. In an astonishing outburst of honesty, Cody confessed that during his teenage years, he was involved in what he referred to as Mormon-style mischief. That included physical affection, everything but intercourse, with multiple girlfriends before he married Meri. He even admitted to the same with Robin when he was still married to his other wives. So what's the catch? Cody swears that he stayed loyal to his religious doctrine because it wasn't technically sex. But here's the actual problem. While Cody has defended his own behavior, he's been much less understanding and open about how he's treated Meri, Janelle, and Christine. This was only revealing of how unevenly he's exercised morality to his wives compared to himself. And there's more. Cody not only broke rules with Robin when he was married, he did so without informing his other wives. Fans were angry. When TLC put the clip up on the internet, the reaction was swift. One viewer wrote, "You decided to fall in love with Robin, but your way was cruel. Why be so graphic?" Another chimed in, "Nobody needed to hear that, just disrespectful." Now let's switch gears to Christine and Janelle, 2 of the favorite women in the franchise. Both of them questioned Cody's loyalty and even his timeline with Robin in the tell-all. Janelle revealed a big truth. Cody courted Robin for a whole year prior to informing the other wives. That is very unusual in their religious community, particularly for an already married man. So what does that imply? It means Cody's so-called spiritual courtship wasn't merely covert, it was emotionally and morally unfaithful. Christine and Janelle didn't miss it. His extended relationship with Robin was a warning sign, marking his drifting devotion to the rest of the family. And now fans are wondering, was this marriage ever about religion or merely about domination? As Season 19 closes, one thing is clear, the veil has been lifted. Cody Brown's attempts to appear as a devoted spiritual leader have collided with the cold truth of his actions, and viewers aren't buying it anymore. So what's next for the Sister Wives? Will Meri, Janelle, and Christine continue to thrive in their independence? Will Cody and Robin face more public fallout? We'll be watching, and so should you. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single update on the Brown family's unfolding saga. This is Sister Wives Underground, where the truth always unravels. But come on, refer to that sort of action as Mormon naughty isn't merely flippant. It's a total breakdown of values, particularly from a person who purports to believe in purity as sacred. Christine Brown didn't mince words. She took the discussion further and disclosed that Robin and Cody could have been hiding even more about their initial relationship. Christine remembered an earlier incident when Cody confessed he had lost his virginity, an admission he had only made before to Robin and Meri, hiding from the other wives. On the Sister Wives January 5th episode, Cody stated, "It was devastating to me," when discussing how much purity meant to him in his religion. But Christine felt disappointed. No, she felt deceived. And why wouldn't she? It wasn't so much Cody's confession, it was the inappropriately intimate photos of him and Robin together, the spark between them, the regular 4-hour drives Cody would take just to visit her. It all implied a whole lot more depth of relationship than anyone had known. Christine put it bluntly, they just lied. But that wasn't the only bombshell that Christine dropped this season. She also faced Cody's glaring double standards in regard to affection. In earlier seasons, Christine remembered that Cody habitually displayed public displays of physical affection to his wives, something she had initially dismissed as part of their common beliefs. But looking back, particularly at how he interacted with Robin, it was apparent that something was amiss. The turning point? Seeing Cody and Robin kiss to seal their engagement. That, while the other wives still waited in the background, hurt. Christine said she was jealous, not only of the kiss, but of what it stood for, a man putting his own emotional needs first, while using religion as an excuse to close his eyes to the emotions of the women around him. And the truth only got worse from there. Cody himself admitted that his PDA with Robin caused issues within his relationships with his other wives. He even admitted in the tell-all that his strong bond with Robin had affected his marriages, and not in a positive manner. But here's the thing, Cody has known that for years. He picked Robin, he expressed openly his love for her, even at the cost of hurting Meri, Janelle, and Christine. He didn't appear to care about the emotional damage, and although he now acknowledges that his relationship with Robin created tension, followers can't help but ask, why do it now? Why confess it when the damage is already done? As Season 19 uncovers further layers of Cody Brown's contradictions, the truth is inescapable. The more he attempted to show himself to be just and loyal as a leader, the more he revealed himself to be as out of balance and emotionally selective as ever before. So, what's to come? With the sister wives striking out on their own and Cody holding on to a broken ideal, it's safe to say that this family drama is only just beginning. Don't miss what comes next. Like, subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're always in the loop as Sister Wives Underground continues to uncover the raw, unfiltered truth behind TLC's most complicated family. Cody Brown didn't only fail to safeguard his former wives' feelings, he outright confessed he didn't care what they felt. During Season 19's tell-all, Cody gave a rare bout of candor. He discussed the emotional repercussions of his past marriages, confessing he had deep cracks with Meri, Janelle, and Christine. And those cracks weren't minor. They intensified over time, gradually destroying the family. While in his interview with Suki Krishnan, Cody also addressed one of the most controversial topics, public displays of affection, PDA. That is, how it contributed to the emotional collapse of his family. Suki was not afraid of the difficult questions. She asked if Cody would publicly display affection for Robin, particularly considering his history with the other wives. Cody's response was shrouded in regret. He explained that his past experiences with PDA had been traumatizing and had become a source of friction in the family. He even confessed that he and Robin made a deliberate choice. They would not do PDA in front of Meri and Janelle unless the situation was absolutely right. Cody said they were being careful now after they learned their lesson, but they learned it too late. And here's where things get really sensational. Cody smirked as he stated, "The world hates to love," suggesting that the criticism from fans and family too has encouraged him to be more guarded about his relationship with Robin. But to others, that was a little too close to justification rather than accountability. He attempted to couch it as caution, but what had appeared to the audience was guilt. Let's not forget, when Robin came on the scene, Cody had 3 wives, Meri, Janelle, and Christine. But when he married Robin, it all changed. His love for her was more blatant, more frequent, and much more tactile than with any of the others. And the original wives knew it. Christine has spoken publicly about how awkward and uneasy the physical affection between Robin and Cody had made her feel within their plural marriage. She remembered times when Cody would openly hug and kiss Robin. Something that had once been normal in a spiritual marriage now appeared to be an agonizing show of favoritism. Even Cody himself confessed to have shared more PDA with Robin than with either of his former wives. He disclosed a lesser-known fact. Cody and Robin were actually kicked out of a family gathering for displaying too much physical affection. That admission surprised even Suki. "Expelled?" she asked incredulously. Cody paused, then affirmed, but would not elaborate. He waved it off with a non-committal remark. "Yeah, they felt bad with us." But the deed was already done. Suki prodded him for more information, but Cody shut up. "It cost me dearly," he uttered, implying there was much more to the tale, but leaving the viewers to imagine the rest. This was a telling moment, not only for what Cody spoke, but for what he didn't. For years, he's preached openness and spirituality, and this silence said more than any words might have. What else has he kept hidden? Tune in, because what Cody does say, and what he keeps back from saying, could hold the key to understanding the profound splits in this formerly united family. If you've been shocked by these bombshells up until now, believe me, you're gonna want to stick around for what's still to come. Make sure you like, subscribe, and tap the bell icon so you never miss an update from Sister Wives Underground, where we give it to you straight, with the realities no one else is willing to speak. Yeah, just in a nutshell, you just don't discuss something that hurtful to your life. That's all Cody Brown said before closing down the discussion. And for many fans, that was the last straw. He mentioned it, but then would not elaborate, and fans weren't convinced. Fans instantly flocked to Reddit and social media, asking why Cody would go so far as to suggest something so drastic if he wasn't going to provide actual answers. Not only was it disappointing, but it was perceived as manipulative. This wasn't another Sister Wives season finale. What we saw was a reckoning, a multi-part special that peeled back years of polish and pretense. For the first time ever in the show's history, the emotional devastation Cody left behind was front and center. Season 19 was unfiltered, unflinching, and raw. It exposed the emotional devastation, not just for Meri, Janelle, and Christine, but for viewers who had followed the Browns for over a decade. What used to be portrayed as a functional, if unconventional, family structure was now shown as a crumbling empire built on one man's shifting morals and unchecked authority. Cody Brown, once the self-assured leader of the family, found himself cornered, not by his wives, but by his own contradictions. In the tell-all, his cover was blown. With Suki Krishnan's questioning, Cody let something slip that caused shockwaves among fans. He had sex before marriage, a confession that went against the chaste image he had cultivated for years. And how did he deal with it? Totally tone-deaf. Rather than face it humbly or with regret, Cody dismissed it as playful indiscretions. He laughed, he downplayed, he attempted to talk his way past it. But fans were not laughing. This was not just teenage behavior. This was about a man who, for years, insisted on emotional restraint and spiritual submission from his wives, while making furtive exceptions for himself. The public outcry came quickly, and it came hard. Long-time viewers, many of whom once looked up to Cody for leadership and religious devotion, recognized it for what it was: hypocrisy. And this is the agonizing part. The fans weren't responding to ancient history. They were responding to the long-term effects of Cody's decisions. The double standards, the favoritism, the emotional damage to women who invested decades of loyalty in him. This finale was not merely a melodramatic episode, it was a reflection. It mirrored the very real hurt that resulted from control disguised as commitment and faith twisted into partiality. As the credits rolled on season 19, one thing was certain: this family's narrative is no longer one of spiritual balance, it's one of truth, consequences, and survival. And the fans? They're no longer passive observers, they're witnesses. So if you're ready to continue peeling back the truth about what really happened backstage, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn notifications on for Sister Wives Underground. The drama isn't done, and you won't want to miss what's next. The reaction was quick and strong. Viewers were outraged at the obvious hypocrisy of Cody's words versus his actions, past and present. Internet chat rooms burst with reaction. Some were shocked at Cody's candor during the exposé. One viewer commented, Why be so explicit? Leave something to the imagination. Another added, to fall for your youngest wife is your prerogative, but your approach, that was heartless to the women who had their lives revolve around you. And it wasn't only the public sounding alarms. Janelle and Christine were beginning to connect the dots for themselves. During the tell-all, Janelle candidly discussed the long duration of Cody's courtship with Robin. In their religion, such long engagements are not common, least of all when the man is already wedded. The fact that Cody and Robin's relationship lasted for so long, with no reason or explanation, contributed to Janelle's heightened sense of betrayal. To her, it was a sign that Cody had mentally checked out of his previous marriages much earlier than he actually signed the divorce papers. And then Christine arrived, tough, honest, and finished with sugarcoating. She challenged Cody's so-called shame regarding his pre-wedding history. If he felt so ashamed, then why were they engaged in such intimate, such affectionate, such obviously comfortable engagement photos? In her view, these weren't shots of a couple newly in love, they were snapshots of people already strongly attached. She challenged Cody's so-called shame regarding his pre-wedding history. If he felt so ashamed, then why were they engaged in such intimate, such affectionate, such obviously comfortable engagement photos? In her view, these weren't shots of a couple newly in love, they were snapshots of people already strongly attached. In Christine's eyes, those photos weren't romantic, they were proof. They demonstrated that Robin and Cody had crossed emotional lines well before any wedding vows. In their shared religion, such closeness prior to marriage is not only frowned upon, it's illegal. But that was not all. Cody's daily road trips to see Robin, occasionally taking up the whole day, only further worsened matters. Christine began to feel that these were not mere innocent visits. They were not merely about building a spiritual bond, they were about fostering an emotional closeness that kept his other wives at arm's length. She recalled observing them intensely, how they smiled, how they leaned against each other. They never stopped smiling, she said. It wasn't the type of love you would see between two new people. It was the type of connection that is built on shared secrets. And those secrets, they shifted everything. Cody always taught about boundaries, about plural marriage rules and etiquette of love, but as Christine started to think about how physical affection looked within their family, things appeared different. Early on, Cody would give each wife a peck on the cheek, even in front of the other women. It looked innocuous, even natural within their relationship. But now, in retrospect, Christine realized that Cody's rules only counted when it suited him. At the time, Christine had dismissed Cody's public display of affection for his wives as being part of their mutual lifestyle and religious custom. But today, her outlook has drastically changed. It was about unity then, she said. Now I see it as disrespect. The breaking point arrived when Christine discovered something that stung deep. Robin had been blessed with affectionate acts from Cody way earlier than they were wedded. Privileges the other wives were not accorded until their wedding days. This was not merely favoritism, it was a transgression of all their family so professedly stood for. Christine never thought of it as a mistake, she thought of it as a conscious decision, one that defied the core principles of their faith and marriage structure. And that realization stung more than any one event. It showed a pattern. And that's where it got even more uncomfortable. Throughout the tell-all, Cody kept coming back to spirituality as an excuse for his actions. Whether picking which wife to see, where to go on vacation, or how to be affectionate, Cody wrapped his desires in spiritual rhetoric. He always said that he was being guided by God. But the women who lived with him, women who gave up things for him, started to catch on. Janelle summed it up best. He said he was doing God's will, but God never told him to leave us behind. That one sentence said everything. The more Cody descended into what felt psychologically safe, the more the distinction between divine guidance and selfish want disappeared. And for the women who sacrificed careers, independence, and sometimes even aspirations to maintain the vision of the family, that was the most difficult reality to confront. What if it was never about God? What if Cody simply followed his heart, and they were the ones left behind? But here's where season 19 changed direction. A strong direction. Rather than dwelling on the breakdown of the family, this season turned toward rebirth. It was about reconstruction, not marriage, but identity. Janelle channeled her energy back into her children, creating a new life in her own terms, based on motherhood and self-sufficiency. Christine also experienced renewed happiness, not only in love or career, but in the absolute freedom of being herself once more. She shone in her new pages, unmasked and unapologetic. Even Meri, once thought the most committed to the vision, appeared to acknowledge that the dream had lost its shine. Although she would not openly discuss betrayal or closeness, her silence spoke volumes. At times, not saying anything is more audible than words. And with the final curtain call on season 19, viewers were left in conflicted emotional states. On the one hand, there was vindication. Those who had cheered for these women for more than a decade finally saw them choosing themselves. But on the other hand, there was also this deep felt loss. Disillusionment, melancholy, treachery. This no longer was a show about plural marriage. It became a picture of emotional survival, of women waking up from a dream and deciding to build something real. What started out as a daring social experiment concluded as a sobering lesson in life, one that's still being written. Cody's recent confessions did not come across as redemption. Rather, they were interpreted as evidence. Evidence that the love he professed to have shared equally with all of his wives had long since become conditional, even asymmetrical. The balance he once taught no longer applied. And that is the true legacy of Sister Wives Season 19. This season did not provide only drama for television. It was a mirror, making viewers face the uncomfortable realities of control, sacrifice, and what occurs when ego supplants family values. The saga of the Brown family became bigger than itself, a cautionary tale. Cody's ex-wives aren't walking away from a plural marriage, they're taking back themselves. They're becoming free, healed, and no longer their own with someone else's unreliability. Few can truly comprehend what it's like to exist under the special stresses that Cody Brown endured as the self-styled head of a polygamous household. From the beginning, he represented faith, family, and oneness, the cornerstones of his carefully crafted public persona. However, in time, that foundation started to crumble. Every season of Sister Wives quietly, sometimes dramatically, revealed how Cody's relationships were evolving, and the tell-all of season 19 finally exposed those cracks for all to see. One of the most emotionally resonant subjects, Cody's public affection with Robin, his sole surviving wife. It wasn't that affection that grated, it was the symbolism. To the other wives, that closeness was not romantic, it was isolating. The consistency, comfort and ease with which Cody showed affection to Robin only served to accentuate what the others never got. Cody had gone for years avoiding to face this truth, but now the silence has been broken, and in breaking he might have unwittingly raised even more questions. Because when one woman is given comfort, the rest are left alone. Cody had always been adamant that he loved all of his wives equally but differently, but actions speak louder than words, as they say, especially when it comes to marriage. And Robin? She wasn't merely the next chapter in Cody's marital life. She was the turning point. From the moment she became a part of the family, everything changed. Cody's tone became more gentle, his temperament altered, and his priorities changed. What was formerly done by many suddenly became all about one. Of course, nothing is wrong with marital affection in and of itself, but in the Brown household, it symbolized imbalance, partiality, and emotional abandonment, and the viewers witnessed it all. What had started as innocent gestures, hand-holding, kissing in the kitchen, giggles on the couch, traded on their memories for resentment. The issue wasn't that there were public displays of affection, it was that one woman got to be loved that way, and the others were erased slowly from the narrative. When Cody finally spoke to this in the tell-all, it provided an uncommon look at his emotional state. When queried if he felt secure coming out publicly and declaring his love for Robin, his response was refreshingly candid. He confessed that both he and Robin had grown more circumspect, not out of shame, but out of fear, for affection had become risky. "We express affection," he told me, "but only where it is safe to do so, not in the presence of those who would turn it against us." And then came the actual watershed. Cody disclosed that one loving moment with Robin had previously caused a total breakdown in the household. "Last time we got affectionate around them, we got shut out," he explained in a combination of bitterness and hurt. He would not elaborate, only saying, "They messed with us bad, and it cost me deeply." The evasiveness grew the greater it became, and the greater the speculation that erupted online. Fans flooded forums, analysing every utterance. Had there been a fight, a family feud? Whatever, it had been enough to alter Cody's way of showing love forever. And that silence, ominous. It stirred up long-dormant resentment between Cody and his former wives. Christine remembered how, when they were all new, they'd all decided that love would be equal, no favourites, no secrets. But over time, things shifted. When Robin came into the picture, Cody's love didn't just multiply, it became monopolised. He laughed louder with her, hugged her longer, kissed her deeper. It wasn't love, it was preference, and it was inescapable. Janelle recognised it as well. She talked openly about how the more Cody and Robin's relationship grew, both emotionally and practically, the whole house started to revolve around Robin. Holidays together, family choices, even leisure moments. Everything began centering on one individual. The rest of the wives were relegated to background players in their own homes. And then there was the most disorienting component. At the tell-all, Cody insisted he was the one being penalized for demonstrating love, that in some way his love had cost him everything. But to the ex-wives, this was a slap in the face. They were the ones starving for love. They were the ones who were emotionally silent, while all of this was given to Robin. Christine said that their intimacy was obligatory, something mechanical, like a routine, no passion, no love. Janelle had the same to say, slow emotional fade, an intimacy that eluded their grasp. But Cody stood on stage, portraying himself as the victim of his own romance. It was a moment that encapsulated it all. The way Cody tended to present his own behaviour as altruistic, even when it hurt people. Each kiss he planted on Robin wasn't just love, it was a verbal declaration of who came first. Whether he meant to or not, every action created an emotional pecking order that no level of religious vernacular could conceal. So when Cody explained that he and Robin now make affection private, it was an implicit affirmation of what fans and loved ones had long suspected, that love in his universe came with conditions, and not all of them qualified. It was a bittersweet awakening for the women who once consented to plural marriage on the assurances of equality, respect, and mutual love. What was once a tale of togetherness was now one of emotional survival and a family forever altered.